There's a peculiar kind of magic in the way the world shrinks down to nothing after hours in this office. I'm Noel, and at 40, I've carved out a strange sort of sanctuary here among the gray cubicle walls and the endless stacks of reports. It's well past 9, and the place is a ghost town, save for me and the faint flicker of fluorescent lights that seem to stutter like they're as tired as I am. The air conditioning hums low, a constant drone that fills the silence, almost like it's trying to keep me company. I've got my desk lamp on, casting a small pool of yellow light over my keyboard, but beyond that, it's just shadows stretching out across the empty floor. I should have gone home hours ago, but the truth is, I'd rather be here, lost in the quiet of this place, than face the stillness waiting for me at home. Home. That word used to mean something warm, something safe. Now it's just a house with too many empty rooms, and not enough words to fill them. Jasper, my husband of 15 years, isn't there most nights. He's 47, an electrician with shifts that stretch into the early hours, fixing power lines or troubleshooting outages in some far-off corner of the city. He's a good man, hardworking to a fault, but somewhere along the line, we stop being able to reach each other. It's not that we fight. There's no energy for that. It's more like we're two strangers passing through the same space, leaving behind nothing but the faintest traces of who we used to be. I miss him, or maybe I miss the idea of us, the way we'd laugh over nothing or plan little weekend getaways that never happened. Now, I stay late at the office, not just to catch up on work, but to avoid the ache of walking into a house that feels more like a museum of what was. But it's not all loneliness here in these late hours. There's Victor, a neighbor who works in the building next door. He's around my age, with an easy charm that sneaks up on you, and a smile that feels like it could light up even this dreary office space. He started dropping by a few weeks ago, just popping his head in to say hi, and now it's become a sort of ritual. We'll grab coffee from the break room, the kind that tastes like burnt regret, and talk about nothing and everything. Old movies, the weird quirks of our coworkers, the way the city looks from the window when it's all lit up at night. Victor listens in a way I'm not used to anymore, really listens, like what I'm saying matters. It's such a small thing, but it started to feel like a lifeline, something to hold on to when everything else feels like it's slipping through my fingers. He's mentioned a couple of friends in passing, Desmond and Sterling, guys he hangs out with outside of work. I haven't met them yet, and I'm not sure I ever will, but hearing Victor talk about them with that fond, teasing tone makes me curious about the life he leads outside these late-night chats. Tonight, though, it's just us again, and I'm hunched over a pile of paperwork, the clock on my desk ticking closer to 9 p.m. The office is eerily quiet, the kind of quiet that makes every little sound feel amplified. The scratch of my pen, the distant hum of a vacuum as the janitor makes his rounds somewhere down the hall. I'm just about to rub the strain from my eyes when I hear a soft knock on the glass door of my office. I look up, and there he is, Victor, standing there with 2 steaming cups of vending machine coffee in his hands, that casual grin of his cutting through the monotony like a burst of sunlight on a cloudy day. "Hey, Noel, thought you might need a pick-me-up," he says, his voice warm and easy, and I can't help but smile back. Even though I'm exhausted, I push the papers aside and wave him in, grateful for the interruption. We don't stay at my desk, though. Instead, we head to the break room down the hall, a cramped little space with a worn-out couch that's seen better days and a flickering overhead light that buzzes like a trapped fly. It's not much, but there's something comforting about it, like it's our own little hideout in this empty building. We settle onto the couch, the springs creaking under us, and I wrap my hands around the cheap paper cup, letting the warmth seep into my palms as the faint, bitter smell of the coffee fills the air. We start talking, like we always do, and it's so easy to lose myself in the conversation. One minute, we're venting about the endless emails and impossible deadlines that pile up during the day, and the next, we're swapping stories about our childhoods. I tell him about the time I tried to build a treehouse with my brother and ended up with nothing but a pile of splinters and a bruised ego, and he laughs. A deep, genuine sound that makes the dim room feel brighter somehow. "You're a disaster, Noel," he teases, and I roll my eyes, but I'm laughing too, probably harder than the story deserves. It's just nice to feel light for a change, to let go of the weight that seems to follow me everywhere else. At one point, he reaches over to hand me a sugar packet for my coffee, and his fingers brush against mine just for a second. It's nothing, really, just a fleeting touch, but my heart does this stupid little skip, like I'm a teenager with a crush instead of a grown woman who should know better. I glance at him to see if he noticed, but he's already stirring his own coffee, oblivious, or at least pretending to be. I tell myself it's harmless, these little moments. They are just a way to pass the time, a distraction from the monotony. But as Victor and I sit there in the break room, the conversation takes a turn, dipping into deeper waters. We start talking about past relationships, the kind of stuff I haven't opened up about in years. I find myself telling him about the early days with Jasper, how we used to stay up all night just talking, dreaming about a future that somehow slipped away. Victor listens intently, his eyes locked on mine, and then he shares his own stories, relationships that fizzled out, nights spent wondering if he'd ever find someone who really got him. There's a rawness to his words, a vulnerability that catches me off guard, and I feel this pull, this unspoken thing between us growing heavier by the second. I know I'm treading on dangerous ground here. Every rational part of me is screaming to change the subject, to get up and go back to my desk, to put some distance between us before I say or do something I can't take back. But I can't seem to pull myself away. It's like I'm caught in some kind of current, and the more we talk, the more I'm drawn in. The air in the break room feels charged, thick with things we're not saying, and I can't tell if it's just in my head or if he feels it too. My hands fidget with the rim of my coffee cup, tearing little pieces off the edge, and I catch myself stealing glances at him, noticing the way his jaw tightens when he talks about something personal, the way his laugh softens when he looks at me. Just when I think the tension might snap, the break room door swings open with a loud creak, startling us both. Two men stride in, their presence filling the small space instantly. Victor lets out a casual laugh and stands up, clapping one of them on the shoulder. "Noel, meet Desmond and Sterling, the guys who never sleep," he says with a grin, like this is the most normal thing in the world. Desmond is tall, towering over the rest of us, with a booming voice that seems to bounce off the walls as he greets me with an enthusiastic, "Hey there." Sterling, on the other hand, is quieter, leaner, with a sly smirk that lingers just a little too long, making my skin prickle with unease. They've got a bottle of cheap whiskey tucked under Desmond's arm, the label peeling at the edges, and he sets it down on the table with a thud. "Thought we'd check out Victor's late-night hangout spot," Sterling says, his tone teasing but with an edge I can't quite place. What starts as an awkward interruption quickly spirals into something else entirely. Desmond grabs a stack of paper cups from the counter, pouring generous shots of whiskey into each one, the sharp, smoky smell cutting through the stale air of the break room. "Come on, Noel, you're not going to let us drink alone, are ya?" he insists, pushing a cup toward me with a wide, mischievous grin. I hesitate for a moment, knowing I shouldn't, but the energy in the room is infectious, almost reckless, and I find myself taking the cup, the liquid burning my throat as I take a small sip. Sterling leans against the counter, watching the scene unfold, and makes a comment about office secrets, his voice low and suggestive, hinting at something I don't quite catch. My cheeks flush, and I let out a nervous laugh, trying to brush it off, but his words linger, making me feel exposed in a way I can't explain. Victor, though, seems completely at ease, egging on the playful banter with a smirk of his own. He raises his cup in a mock toast, saying something about making the most of the night, and I clink my cup against his, caught up in the chaotic energy swirling around us. With each sip, my inhibitions start to loosen, the edges of my caution blurring as laughter spills out of me more freely. The conversation takes a flirtatious turn, and I'm not sure who starts it, but suddenly Desmond is teasing Victor about keeping me company during these late hours. Victor doesn't miss a beat, turning the drive home feels like I'm moving through a dream, the city a blur of dim streetlights and empty sidewalks. It's nearly 3 a.m., and the streets are deserted, save for the occasional flicker of a neon sign or the distant rumble of a late-night delivery truck. My hands grip the steering wheel a little too tight, the buzz of whiskey still humming in my veins, though it's starting to fade into something heavier, something like regret. The radio crackles softly, tuned to some late-night station playing a sad, slow love song, some crooner lamenting a lost chance, his voice cutting through the silence of my car like a knife. Every word stabs at me, echoing the mess of emotions I'm trying to outrun. I can still hear Victor's laugh in my head, see the way his eyes crinkled at the corners when he smiled at me across that cramped break room table. I can still feel the heat of Desmond's teasing, the weight of Sterling's sly glances. What was I even doing there? letting myself get swept up in a night that felt so reckless, so unlike me. I turn down the volume, but the quiet is worse. It leaves too much room for my thoughts to spiral. My mind keeps replaying the way I laughed too loud, the way I leaned in just a little too close when Victor spoke, the way I let myself forget, for just a few hours, the life waiting for me at home. Jasper. God, Jasper. The guilt hits me like a wave, cold and suffocating, tightening my chest until it's hard to breathe. He's probably asleep by now, or maybe he's still out on a job, fixing someone's power in the dead of night while I'm out here, chasing thrills I have no right to. I don't even know how to face him after tonight, how to look into his tired eyes and pretend everything's fine when it's so far from that. Pulling into our driveway, the house looms dark and silent, a stark contrast to the chaotic energy I left behind at the office. I cut the engine and sit there for a moment, staring at the front door, my heart thudding unevenly. The porch light is off, which means Jasper's likely been home for a while. I grab my bag and step out, the cool night air biting at my skin as I fumble with my keys. The door creaks as I push it open, and I wince, hoping the sound doesn't carry. Inside, the house smells faintly of motor oil and coffee, traces of Jasper's long day lingering in the air. His work boots sit by the door, caked with dirt from whatever site he was on, and his electrician's toolkit rests on the kitchen counter, a silent testament to the hours he puts in. I pause there, running my fingers over the worn handle of one of his screwdrivers, feeling the weight of how separate our lives have become. I tiptoe down the hallway toward our bedroom, my footsteps muffled on the carpet, every creak of the floorboard sounding louder than it should. The door is ajar, and I nudge it open slowly, peering into the darkness. Jasper's form is there under the covers, a still shape in the dim light filtering through the blinds. His breathing is slow, steady, and for a moment, I just stand there watching him sleep, a pang of something I can't name twisting in my gut. I slip out of my jacket and shoes, moving as quietly as I can, and slide into bed beside him. The mattress dips under my weight, and I hold my breath, waiting to see if he stirs. He doesn't, thank God, but now that I'm lying here, I can't shut off my mind. Victor's smile flashes behind my closed eyes, the memory of his voice, weaving through the haze of the night. The thrill of it all, the laughter, the danger of crossing lines I shouldn't. It's still there, buzzing under my skin, even as I lie next to the man I promised to love forever. I turn onto my side, facing away from Jasper, and stare at the wall, my thoughts a tangled mess. Part of me wants to roll over, shake him. I'm dragging myself through the front door again, the weight of another endless day clinging to me like a second skin. My shoulders ache from hunching over spreadsheets, my eyes burn from staring at screens, and my mind, God, my mind is still a mess from last night. The memory of that break room, the laughter, the whiskey, Victor's voice, it's all still looping in my head, a relentless echo I can't shake. I drop my bag by the door, kick off my shoes with a sigh, and shuffle into the house, expecting the usual silence to greet me. But something feels off the second I step into the living room. The air is heavy, charged with something I can't name. And then I see him, Jasper. He's sitting on the couch, his broad frame hunched forward, elbows on his knees, hands clenched into tight fists. The room is dark, save for a single lamp on the side table, its harsh yellow light slicing through the gloom and casting jagged shadows across the walls. His face, oh, his face, is a storm of emotions I haven't seen in years. Anger, raw and sharp, but beneath it, something deeper, something that looks a lot like pain. My stomach twists at the sight of it. I stop dead in my tracks, my breath catching in my throat. On the coffee table in front of him sits a small black device, no bigger than a deck of cards, a digital recorder. I don't recognize it, and the sight of it sends a chill down my spine. What is this? What's happening? I open my mouth to say something, anything, but before I can get a word out, Jasper's hand moves. He reaches forward, his fingers trembling just slightly, and presses a button on the recorder. A soft click, and then my voice, my own damn voice, fills the room, bright and carefree, laughing in a way I haven't heard myself laugh in ages. It's me, unmistakably me from last night in that cramped break room. I'm giggling, teasing, my words slurring just a little from the whiskey as I say things to Victor, things I barely remember saying but can't deny now. Flirtatious quips, playful jabs, my tone dripping with a familiarity that sounds so wrong in this context. And then there's Victor's voice, smooth and suggestive, responding with a low chuckle that makes my skin crawl hearing it now. Desmond's crude jokes cut through, loud and brash, followed by Sterling's sly, knowing remarks, each word painting a picture of a night that sounds so much worse than I thought it was. It's like listening to a stranger, someone I don't even know, but it's me. It's all me. I stand there, frozen, my heart slamming against my ribs so hard I'm sure Jasper can hear it. My hands are shaking, my palms slick with sweat, and I can't tear my eyes away from that recorder, from the way it sits there like a judge and jury all rolled into one. The audio loops on, my laughter ringing out again, sharp and careless, and each sound is a punch to the gut. I want to move, to turn it off, to scream that it's not what it seems, but my feet are glued to the floor, my voice trapped in my throat. Jasper doesn't look at me, not yet. His gaze is fixed on the table, on that little black box spilling out all my secrets, and the silence from him is louder than anything on that recording. Finally, after what feels like an eternity, he speaks. His voice is low, trembling with something that cuts me deeper than any shout could. I didn't want to believe it, Noel. I really didn't. My knees feel weak, like they might give out under me, but I force myself to stay upright. He lifts his head then, and his eyes meet mine. Those familiar brown eyes that used to look at me with warmth, with love, now cold and hollow with betrayal. A neighbor mentioned seeing cars parked near your office late at night, he says, each word deliberate, like he's been rehearsing this for hours. Said it happened more than once. After Jasper's words cut through me like a blade, the room seems to collapse in on itself. He doesn't say much more after that, just stands up, his movements slow and heavy, like he's carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. I try to speak, to explain, to beg, but the words choke in my throat, useless and inadequate. He doesn't look at me as he grabs his jacket from the back of the couch, doesn't even flinch when I stammer out his name. The front door slams behind him with a finality that echoes through the house, and then he's gone. Just like that, the space is empty, save for me, and the lingering ghost of his pain. I sink onto the couch where he'd been sitting, the cushion still warm from his presence, and stare at that damned recorder on the coffee table. It sits there, silent now, but it might as well be a loaded gun for all the destruction it's caused. My life, my marriage, everything I thought I could hold on to, it's all shattered in the span of a few minutes, and I'm the one who pulled the trigger. The silence in the house is heavier than it's ever been, pressing down on me until I can barely breathe. I don't move for what feels like hours, just sit there in the dim light, my hands trembling in my lap. My mind keeps replaying the look in Jasper's eyes, the betrayal etched into every line of his face. I think about how we got here, how we've been through so much together, financial struggles that nearly broke us, the loss of a pregnancy years ago that left us both hollow for months. We rebuilt after those storms, piece by painful piece, clinging to each other when there was nothing else to hold on to. We'd sit on this very couch, late at night, promising each other we'd make it through, that we were stronger together. And now I've undone all of that with my own restlessness, my selfish need for something, anything, to fill the void I felt inside. I chased a fleeting thrill, a moment of feeling seen, and in doing so, I've lost the one person who truly mattered. The next few days are a blur of desperation and despair. I call Jasper's phone over and over, my fingers fumbling with the screen, leaving voicemails that start with shaky apologies and end in tears. Please, Jasper, just talk to me. Let me explain. I know I messed up, but I can't lose you. I can't. My voice cracks every time, raw and pleading, but there's no response. Not a single call back, not even a text to tell me he's heard me. His silence is a wall I can't break through, and each unanswered message feels like another brick being laid. I check my phone obsessively, jumping at every notification, hoping against hope it's him, but it never is. The house feels like a tomb without him, every corner holding memories of a life that might be gone for good. His work boots are still by the door, his toolkit still on the counter, but they're just relics now, reminders of a presence that's no longer here. At work, I can't bear to stay late anymore. The office, once a strange sort of refuge, now feels like a crime scene. I avoid the break room entirely, unable to even glance at that worn-out couch without a wave of shame crashing over me. The memory of that night, the laughter, the whiskey, Victor's easy smile, it's all tainted now, a source of regret rather than excitement. I keep my head down, clocking out as soon as my shift ends, desperate to escape the ghosts of my own mistakes. But I can't avoid Victor forever. A few days after Jasper left, I run into him in the hallway near the elevators. My stomach drops at the sight of him, his familiar grin faltering when he sees the look on my face. "Hey, Noel, everything okay?" he asks, his voice laced with genuine concern, but I can't meet his eyes. I mumble something about being fine, my words clipped and hollow, and brush past him before he can say anything else. I feel his gaze on my back as I walk away, knowing that my heart is not ready to share the truth just yet. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.